In a country where cricket was once a man's game, one young girl dared to dream. Her name, Sana Mir. A girl who would one day redefine what it means to wear the green jersey, not just for herself, but for every girl who was ever told, cricket isn't for you. Born in Abbottabad, Pakistan, Sana's childhood was surrounded by mountains, but her dreams were always higher than the peaks. She grew up playing cricket with her brother in the backyard, a place where every boundary she hit was an act of rebellion. There were no girls' teams, no academies for her, and no one to tell her that she could make it. So, she told herself. As she grew older, the whispers turned into barriers. Relatives questioned her choices, neighbors laughed, and even teachers advised her to focus on something realistic. But Sana had already decided she would carve her own path, even if it meant walking alone. Her father became her quiet supporter, a pillar in her storm. He watched her train with boys in dusty grounds, facing criticism that no one else could hear. With every dropped catch, she was told, "This is not your place." But with every ball she bowled, she silently replied, "Watch me." There were no spotlights then, only the sound of her breath in the empty air as she practiced after school. Her hands would blister, her knees would bleed, but her heart never learned to stop. For Sana, the struggle wasn't just about making a career. It was about proving that a Pakistani girl could stand on the same pitch where legends stood and hold her ground. By the time she reached her teenage years, she wasn't just playing cricket, she was building a revolution. And soon, the world would hear her name. As Sana Mir stepped into her late teens, her passion began to transform into purpose. The streets of Abbottabad were now her silent witnesses. Each morning's first light caught her shadow practicing alone, ball in hand, eyes full of fire. But Pakistan in those years wasn't a country where women's cricket had recognition. There were no academies, no sponsorships, not even a proper stadium for them. Sana's parents, however, became her first and most loyal supporters. Her father would say, "You don't need validation, Sana, you need vision." Her first major breakthrough came when she was selected for Pakistan's national women's cricket camp. The camp wasn't glamorous old pitches, borrowed kits, and shared accommodations, but to Sana, it was paradise. Surrounded by girls who shared her dream, she felt for the first time that she wasn't alone. Yet, it wasn't easy. She wasn't the strongest hitter, nor the fastest bowler. But what she did have was leadership, calm, composed, yet quietly fierce. When she was handed the captaincy of the Pakistan women's cricket team, it came as a shock to many. Some doubted her tactical mind, others her resilience. But Sana knew that leadership wasn't about shouting louder, it was about standing taller. Her approach was revolutionary. She led not just with skill, but with empathy. She understood her teammates' struggles, girls from small towns, fighting against social judgment and limited resources. Sana turned those struggles into strength. Under her captaincy, Pakistan began to rise. The 2010 Asian Games became the turning point. When Pakistan's women's cricket team clinched the gold medal, it wasn't just a victory, it was a declaration. Tears rolled down Sana's eyes as the green flag rose high. The national anthem played, and for a brief moment, the world watched, not men, but women, bringing glory to Pakistan. That win changed everything. Newspapers began printing her name. Young girls began holding cricket bats, and the idea of women's cricket was no longer a dream, it was a reality. But even in victory, Sana stayed grounded. "This is just the beginning," she said. And indeed, it was. The real challenge, consistency, respect, and recognition, was yet to come. After the 2010 Asian Games, Sana Mir became a name that inspired countless young girls across Pakistan. But her real test had just begun. Staying consistent in a world that often forgets women's achievements too quickly. Sana wasn't just a captain, she was an architect. She shaped an entire system where women could believe in themselves. Under her leadership, Pakistan went on to win the 2014 Asian Games gold medal again, proving that 2010 wasn't a coincidence, it was the beginning of a legacy. In those years, Pakistan's women's cricket team was not just playing cricket, they were changing mindsets. They played in small stadiums, sometimes with barely any crowd. But Sana reminded her team, "We're not playing for applause, we're playing for purpose." Her bowling was magical, steady, smart, and strategic. She wasn't a bowler who relied on pace, she relied on brains. Her ability to read the batter's mind made her one of the most respected captains in women's cricket worldwide. Then came the ICC Women's World Cup 2013 and T20 World Cups, where despite limited resources, Sana led her team with pride. She became the first Pakistani woman cricketer to take 100 wickets in ODIs, a record that not only defined her career but also gave hope to every little girl who held a cricket ball for the first time. Her leadership style drew attention globally. She was often compared to great captains like Imran Khan for her vision, discipline, and determination. She didn't just represent Pakistan, she represented every woman who ever heard the words "you can't." Off the field, Sana became a voice for equality. She spoke fearlessly about the need for respect, pay parity, and representation for female athletes. She once said in an interview, "We don't need to be compared with men. We just need to be respected as athletes." Her humility shone through every success. Even when she received the Tamghe-Imtiaz, one of Pakistan's highest civilian honors, she dedicated it to her team, saying, "This medal belongs to every girl who fought to play cricket in a society that told her she couldn't." But behind every medal was struggle, physical exhaustion, emotional breakdowns, and the constant battle for recognition. Yet Sana never complained. She knew she was walking a path that others would one day find easier. Because of her courage, by 2019, as she decided to retire, Sana Mir had already changed the face of women's cricket in Pakistan forever. When Sana Mir took her final bow from international cricket in 2019, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a legacy that would echo through generations. She left behind more than statistics and records. She left behind a blueprint for courage. Her story became a chapter of resilience, of how one woman, with nothing but belief, reshaped an entire nation's perception of women in sports. After retirement, Sana didn't disappear from the public eye. She became an advocate for equality, using her voice to uplift young girls and athletes who faced the same resistance she once did. She visited schools, appeared in motivational talks, and kept reminding everyone that cricket was never just about bat and ball. It was about identity, pride, and purpose. In interviews, she spoke softly yet firmly. Her words carried weight. "The most powerful thing you can do," she once said, "is to be yourself, unapologetically and fearlessly." Under her influence, the next generation of Pakistani female cricketers began to dream bigger. The once empty stadiums started filling. The national team started gaining recognition. And every time a little girl picked up a cricket bat, she was unknowingly carrying a piece of Sana Mir's spirit. Her story continues to inspire not just athletes, but every person who feels limited by circumstance, gender, or society. She showed the world that dignity in struggle is just as beautiful as victory. Sana's humility remained unmatched. When asked what legacy she wanted to leave, she smiled and said, "If one girl dares to dream because she saw me play, that's my biggest win." In a world obsessed with fame, she chose impact. In a sport dominated by men, she became an equal. And in a culture that often silences women, she became a voice, calm, graceful, and unstoppable. As the sun sets on her playing days, the echoes of her footsteps still ring in every stadium, where a girl dares to walk with a bat in her hand. Because Sana Mir didn't just play cricket, she rewrote what it means to be a champion.